From Tally to Cali.
It's time
to wake up.
Wake up! Wake up!
Warchant.com is your ultimate Seminole sports source.
And this is Wake Up Warchant, presented by
Vitamin Energy. The vitamins.
The energy.
Now here's Warchant.com's Aslan Hajavandi
and Corey Clark.
We're here. Let's do this, everybody. We're live. It's Wake Up Warchant. It's presented by Vitamin Energy, vitaminenergy.com. Promo code Warchant BOGO. Oh,
got a hat. Should I put it on? Let's see how this looks.
It's a flat bill, man. You gotta. Oh, what's up? What's up, Corey? What's up?
This is what I'm gonna have to start wearing to turn this season around.
All right, that's what we're doing, everybody. You go to vitaminenergy.com. Use the promo code Warchant BOGO. Buy one, get one free. In my hand right here, the Immune Plus Extra Strength caffeine and green tea extract. No sugar crash. Vitamins, nutrients. Delicious blue raspberry flavor. It's still my favorite, but not too far away. Always a sour apple workout plus. Always keeping me company as well. VitaminEnergy.com. Promo code Warchant BOGO. Warchant.com. Ultimate Seminoles sports source. Promo code for that is FSU1. 2 months, $1. By then, we should hopefully have a win or two in the column, I would think. Yes, Corey?
Hopefully.
Okay.
Hopefully. Yep.
Unearthed this gem earlier. DJ Uiagalelei, 19 of 25 for 275 yards. That's a 76% completion percentage, 19 for 25. 275 yards and 5 touchdowns against Cal last year.
Yeah.
You know,
sadly, I don't know that he has as many good players around him this year, Aslan, as he did last year. It would appear certainly not as good offensive line, or let's just say this, not as good a running game as he had last year at Oregon State.
Well, I can't do this for an hour, and neither can our guy Spencer. He wants some positive vibes. Give him positive vibes, Corey.
All right, Spencer, what's up, man? What's up, buddy? I'm sure. Hopefully, I'll see you Friday at Corner Pocket, buddy, for the big meet and greet, and then maybe even Saturday at the tailgate. Good to see you again, buddy. That's Spencer. I was gonna say bald Spencer. I'm not gonna. That's not how we refer to each other. People without hair. That's not a fun identifier. I'll just say married to Kelly, who's by far his better half. But still, as you can tell, Aslan, Spencer is a very good person.
Big ball and smashing, making my ends.
Took me a while. This laptop. So this, in full transparency, this is my everyday driver. This is the MacBook that cost Gene Williams way too much money. Thanks, Gene. But this has been like the workhorse for years prior. That when we started this journey of doing live shows, Gene's awesome. He's like, hey man, like I want you to have a really good machine so you can pull off these live shows without much problem. And it's a Windows machine. So it likes to just restart and download updates and do things whenever it feels like it, despite me telling it no. So I didn't have my soundboard ready to go. But
Spencer, you deserve better than that, is what Aslan's trying to say. By the way, little Wake Up Warchant connection here. Spencer's a former frat brother of Bill Hayes, the owner of Corner Pocket.
Fraternity, Corey.
We don't call them frats. They're fraternity brothers. Sorry, not frat bros. Fraternity brothers at Florida State. Back when the dynasty was getting started. I'm not going to date you, Spencer, but back when the dynasty was getting started.
Pikes? Delts?
I think they were tri-lambs.
Okay.
They were lambda, lambda, lambda. I'm not quite sure what fraternity they were in, but yeah, maybe they never told me. I don't know, but they were. For all I know, they're lying to me, but I think they were fraternity brothers.
Shout out to May saying up the volume by like 10% on the sound effects. If anything, hopefully people have learned that I don't know anything about sound. I am no sound engineer. It's either too loud, it's too soft. I can never find the middle ground unless like I'm in a controlled environment and like both of us are on the same exact microphones into the same devices. But thanks for listening closely, Mace. I appreciate that. Hey, man, I don't even know what he's going to say, but I haven't seen Trevor with a P in a long time. That means it's Prever. Everybody, it's Prever. It's pronounced Trevor with a P. What the running game has become, some may even call it the ruining game, Corey.
Right.
Um,
You think that's a A typo, or is he being clever? Because that is clever.
He came back and fixed
Oh,
it.
then he came back and fixed it. No, keep it ruining game. It's ruining the game.
What the running game has become after the hope at the end of the 22 gave me is what makes me the most sad. I thought the run game would be back this year. Yeah, man. And I don't know, maybe in my older age, I appreciate like a smash mouth. We can run the ball when we want to run the ball offense. I've always been a high flying pitch it around the park thing, but you know, I warmed up to it. I'm like, okay, we've got a bunch of 25-year-old guys with 2,000 starts on the offensive line. Let's just maul people. I'm cool with it, but that just has not worked out and remains the single most puzzling, disappointing thing to this start.
Would it not be cool? Is it even feasible? It can, and I guess I don't know enough about offensive line play. Can you not just say hat on a hat? Just push forward on the person in front of you, hat on a hat. Quit all the pulling, quit all the giving off to someone else and letting a guy like it just doesn't work. And to that point, you know, I think I talked about it yesterday on the show, but Ira and Spencer, by the way, Spencer, Sigma Nu, as he just texted me. They were Sigma News, now no longer on the campus. Ooh, I don't want to ask what happened there, but no longer on the campus. But Ira brought up the point about, you know, maybe Norvell, it's not Norvell's offense can't work without a mobile quarterback. Man. Maybe Alex Atkins' offensive line scheme or the way he picks players can't work without a mobile quarterback. And I don't know if that's true, but I did go back and do a little research. And just real quick, the 2019 Charlotte team, their quarterback, Chris Reynolds,
sounds like a fast mobile quarterback.
Ran for 928 yards. Well, no, sorry. He gained 928 yards. He netted 791. But he averaged about 61 yards a game rushing. Okay. And then the Tulane football team in 2017, another one, Jonathan Banks was the quarterback. He gained 786 yards and averaged 53.5 yards per game. So it's like, and we know what Jordan Travis did when he was unleashed, and we know what this offense has looked like every time somebody not named Jordan Travis has taken snaps. So, you know, that might be something to at least look at in the offseason. We could do some more digging. Those are just 3 years that I picked at random in Alex Atkins' career. But whatever this scheme is with the offensive line, you know, the counters, the pulling, whatever it is, it just hasn't shown the ability to work without a mobile threat.
Maybe you could have recruited a mobile threat at quarterback, possibly. Would that have been an option?
Yes, correct. Well, look, there's a lot of evaluation that has to go on after the season. And I don't want people to think we're reactionary. Hopefully they turn it around and they average, you know, but the rest of the year maybe they average 180, 200 yards a game rushing somehow with DJ. But yeah, the reflection that has to happen after the season is like, okay, is this offensive line, the way we're teaching offensive line, is it conducive with my scheme to where we have to have some freak at quarterback to even be relevant in the running game? Because it's so bad that I think everything's on the table. I think maybe Mike Norvell, he can fit his offense into what Alex Atkins does with the offensive line, vice versa, or go make some personnel changes with the quarterbacks. Whatever you have to do, it's been so bad through 3 games. It's catastrophically bad that you have to. It's a ruining game that you have to wonder what they can do to fix it. But yes, Alex Atkins' offenses have run for a ton of yards when they have a mobile quarterback, which isn't always the case. It's not like that's just hey, give me a guy that can run. Let me throw him in there. We're going to average 230 yards per game. There is some coaching that goes along with that, but that certainly has helped both Mike Norvell and Alex Atkins in their career.
I forgot what our guy on the screen, his name was. It used to be a name that would always trip me up. I felt there was like 3 different ways I could pronounce it, but now YouTube, I think, is showing people's like handles as opposed to their name. So now he's just jamming 2 shirts. Am I allowed to hope that Coach Atkins was the only one missing for us to win games? Yeah, maybe. But I feel like we haven't talked enough. And listen, I guess we all want to move on at a certain point, but you know, not having both of your starting tackles, not that Jeremiah Byers was pushing Anthony Munoz for, you know, a spot in Canton at some point, but
and Darius certainly didn't look good against Boston College at all.
Yeah. But, you know, maybe if they can get back sooner than later, that helps things out, or I don't know. I'm not opposed to seeing, you know, let's see Andre Otto. I don't know. We've kind of seen Jacob Rizzi at practice this week, and I don't know. Yeah.
Okay.
Right. What did Aslan have him on his top 30? Everybody, let's remind you. So before you listen to me any further, 16th.
Yeah.
16th on his top 40. Whoopsie.
Maybe he is the missing ingredient. Maybe it's just they got to get him out there and everything's going to change. Losing the tackles is not ideal, and it is a hit. But it's not, again, it wasn't as if when they do have their two starting tackles, it looked much better than this at all. It looks the exact same. But to that question, there's no way it can't help to have Alex Atkins. They really respect that guy. He obviously knows more about offensive line play than Mike Norvell, and he knows when a guy is getting beat too much. He knows when, hey, we can't run this play. Quit calling this play because we can't block it up, or call this play because we can really block it up. He sees offensive line play. You know, he's got guys that work for him that know a lot, but he's the OC and the offensive line coach for a reason. So in game, absolutely, you've missed him. Now, I don't know to the tune of what. I don't know if he's worth an extra touchdown, worth an extra 40 yards or 80 yards or 200 yards. I don't know. But any team would miss their offensive line coach in the middle of a game.
Let's go to our guy, Corey Bates. He's got $5 in the jar. Word up.
Dollar bills, y'all.
Will the 15-yard penalty by the marching Chiefs be the season-turning spark this team needs?
Man, wouldn't that – so I didn't hear – because in the press box, we've said this before. Thank you, Corey. When they announced that penalty, we couldn't hear what they said. I couldn't hear what they said. And it wasn't a penalty. It was a warning, right? Because they were playing right up until the snap count. So I didn't even know what had happened until like the next day or 2 days late because I'd forgotten about it because there were other pressing issues. And then I'm like, there you go, marching Chiefs. Yeah. Get a 15. Don't get off the field at halftime. Just stay on the field at halftime for an extra 10 minutes. What can they do? That's just probably a 15-yard unsportsmanlike, right? So if you're gonna get a 15-yard unsportsmanlike, earn it. Play like the whole Beatles White Album, because I say that because they're doing. I'm not just an old man. They are doing the Beatles this year at halftime. So play the whole White Album, and the most they can give you is a 15-yard penalty, right? Maybe 2. It's worth it.
I think Cal's student section, they're quirky over there.
Yeah.
And I guess they've got cards, like large poster boards or something they used for their stunts and their in-game cheers. And I guess they throw them on the field when they're done with it. And I think they got at least one penalty, maybe 2 against San Diego State on Saturday. But this game is going to be played in.
Because he had to take the ref's mic and it's like, please quit throwing the cards on the field. Yeah, I didn't even know what he was talking about. Like playing cards, I didn't have any idea what he was talking about.
Thanks, Corey. Appreciate it. And thank you too, Spencer. If I didn't say it enough with my my shouting and my soundboard, I communicate my love through sound effects.
Right.
That's why I'm a single man. I'm going to die alone. Actually, I'm not a single man. I got a girlfriend, but we won't talk about that.
What?
William Flynn. I felt better about the 0-4 start with the effort seen by the majority of the team last time around. This team, however. And then Noel Cal Kev. At times this year, we've seen players frustrated on the field, confused. Have we seen players showing a lack of effort? I can say that in practice, but I don't know if we can say that during a football game. What would be a sign that Norvell has lost the locker room?
There's a couple of plays in general that Ira pointed out from the game against Memphis where is it a lack of effort or the kid's just dog tired because he's been on the field a lot? But there were a couple of plays where it seemed noticeable that there wasn't let's just say great pursuit to the ball. But again, the defense had effort. Maybe a player here or there, but I don't think we can blame that loss on the defense, and I don't think we could say the defense played hard or didn't play hard. I think they gave up 7 points in the second half. They got stops when you needed it, a lot of stops when you needed it, actually, to try to keep you in the game. They were down 20-3, so I think they did well in the second half. So I think they played with enough effort.
They outscored them 9-7 in the second half.
If that's not something to build on, Aslan, what is? Yeah. You know what I'm saying? What is? This team is on a 9-0 run. Yeah. They were down 20-3 and made it 20-12, so they're on a 9-0 run right now. Could be 10-0 run if they'd have kicked the extra point. Look, it's weird when we say lost the locker room. I get it. When you're 0-3 and it doesn't look good, it can look like that. It's like when you watch a baseball game and it looks like there's just a lethargy, just a lack of there's no urgency. It's gross to watch. I've watched the Braves a lot this year. Their offense just seems to lack any fight. And it's like, yeah, man, they're just not good. They're just not good, so it looks bad. It looks like there's a lack of effort. That could be the same here, where they're on offense. I don't know, man. I don't know that it's a lack of effort. I do think the confusion on defense, the confusion on offense too, where it's just guys like Ja'Kai Douglas just doesn't know to block someone. Why? Ja'Kai Douglas has been here forever. It's not like he just missed the block. He didn't even think to block. And it's like, what happens there? That kind of stuff bothers me more than a guy just being really tired and not asking to come off the field and then it's showing on the next play. But to lose a locker room, maybe you lose. I don't know, man. I don't know what a sign would be for that. It's a good question. It's a fair question. I don't know what a sign would be with that, because I haven't thought they haven't played necessarily hard, but they've certainly been confused and they've certainly been pushed around on both lines of scrimmage. The defensive line looked so much better Saturday, so hopefully that continues.
What would be a sign is if a guy's walking off the field after a play, let's say they surrender a touchdown or they turn the ball over, and the guy's walking back to the sideline, and Norvell's tries to get in his face and talk to him, and the guy just I don't want to hear, and walks away, and then Norvell gets in his face, and they argue, and then that guy goes to the end of the sideline, and then the camera's panned to him with 3 other guys next to him, and he's just shaking his head and spitting and mad, and his teammates put their arm around him it's all good, it's all good. That's what it looks like.
I don't think I think when you lose a locker room is when you put that kid back in the game. That kind of stuff happens on every football team, every sports team. There's going to be a kid that's mad that yells at a coach, or a coach yells at him, but when you put that kid back in the game,
but when his teammates go over and they're like, "Hey, man, I know I'm mad too,"
Oh well, yeah, sure. I think. Look, I don't think he ever lost it in 2020, but he just he was playing Steven Dix and DJ Lundy, 2 true freshmen, were his linebackers. They just didn't have a chance. It looked awful. This one, I mean, they're in the games at least, but I will say this: if they start getting blown out and staying blown out and not responding at all, like 20-3, like it was on Saturday, turns into 40-6, that's when you think, okay, well, this team has lost all fight. I wouldn't say that that's happened yet.
Yeah.
But man, it'd be nice if the offense could score.
Shout out to Aaron P dropping dollars in the jar. Hey guys, great meeting y'all last Friday at the CP. I was there, everybody. I actually
That's
left
right.
This house. Mood Plus was definitely needed Saturday afternoon.
Yeah.
Mood Plus around here. I don't have Mood Plus around. I've been giving away to all you folks, making you feel better. Shout out Vitamin Energy. After the game, I watched Brock versus Georgia. It's unbelievable.
Wow.
Why did you do that to yourself,
Eric? Come on, man. Life's too short.
It's unbelievable how in a 63-3 loss he looked better than DJ has this year by far.
They scored 3 points, man. He didn't look great. I thought, weirdly, although the score was the score, I definitely thought he looked better and more ready than he did against Louisville. But that's to be expected. There was nothing on the line. He also had at least 2 weeks to prepare as the starting quarterback, instead of just a few days. It's not like they were like, Brock, you can't lose this for us. We're going to go to the playoff. They weren't in the playoff. I will say this, man. I've been in practice the last 2 days. Aslan can attest. Brock isn't lighting it up, but he's not lighting it up, right? He's not looking substantially better than DJ. In fact, DJ, again, you've never heard us sit here. I want to get this. I want to clear this up, because when we make arguments, we stretch in the wrong direction sometimes, and people will say, I don't want to keep hearing how great DJ looks in practice. Nobody on this show ever said that kid looked great in practice. Right, Aslan?
Correct.
Because he didn't. We said he had good days. He looked okay. We were never sitting here saying, look, guys, this might be a Heisman run coming. I've never seen DJ like this. So he never looked great in practice. He's just looked steady. He's been pretty good. And he was pretty good again on Wednesday, just like he was on Tuesday. But Brock Glenn has stuff that DJ doesn't.
Yeah, R. Wilmer asking about if we've seen a spark on the offense at practice this week, and I really haven't. I mean, Mekhi Danzy had a nice catch on Tuesday. That was kind of cool to see. Morlock, I thought, had a pretty good week of practice. He had really 2 good catches yesterday. And then today.
He had a touchdown catch on Wednesday on a throw from Brock Glenn. Kind of a nice throw. I can't remember who was in coverage. I think it was a safety. But it's a really good throw, and it's a good adjustment by Morlock to come back and catch it and shield the defender for the score. So that was a good play, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if can he take over a drive though? I mean, I'm not trying to diminish anything that Kyle does, but I don't know if I wish it was Malik doing it, but maybe get into a groove there where it's like, man, I'm just going to keep looking in Kyle's direction. I mean, he's 6'6", he's a good target. He's going to be in the middle of the field, and hopefully some space will be created because the guys out wide are pulling coverage their way. So wouldn't hurt to, maybe, force issue a little bit. That was some of the better moments of DJ's preseason, I thought too, was when he would look for Kyle, when not necessarily look for Kyle, but when things weren't there, it was like, oh, hey, check it out. I've got this guy in the middle of the field that's seemingly always finding a way to get open.
And also, I think one of the things with DJ, is that he's not going to throw it to somebody that isn't open, which is usually a positive, right? But when you're eating sacks and killing drives because you won't give your guy a chance to make a play, that's a negative. And he's been eating some sacks. And sometimes Morlock isn't going to be wide open, but he will go make the play. Some of the Williamson did it the other day. Malik did it. Sometimes just give your kid a chance. Give the kid a chance. Not everything's going to be schemed wide open. Obviously, not with this team. So sometimes you just got to throw the ball and take a chance.
Let's go to our guy T. Giddy, Thomas
T. Giddy.
Giddings. $20 in the jar. Thanks, T. Giddy. Thanks to you as well, Aaron. Good evening, Aslan and Corey. Just an observation. Is losing more than one game and some 16-year-old getting a driver's license, or is it the car? You getting pulled over?
T. Giddings, I love you. I don't understand the question. Aslan, do you?
To be drunk, T. Giddy. Too early to be drinking. Is losing more than one game and some 16-year-old getting a driver's license? Or is it the car? Maybe, I don't know. Is it the coach or is it the players? Is it the kid speeding? I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. We'll leave it open though, T. Giddy, to clarify. Don't put any more money in the jar. We'll see if we can get a clarification on your question, and we'll pop it back up on here. In the interim, Mace is back. Shout out Mace, giving us audio tips and fueling the commerce of this website.
Dollar bills, y'all.
Hit the thumbs up, everybody, by the way, if you don't feel like putting money in the jar, which is fine. Never asked you, never will. But just hit the thumbs up. That'd be cool. What is Mace? What is he on the beach?
Looks like it. Just
man.
kind of pondering
he's
into the distance.
Dropping an album or something, looks like.
Country album. It kind of looks like a country album.
No, man. Like Neo Soul.
Oh, all right.
I think it'd be called The Waves Crash.
Okay.
Mace. Anywho, is Brock Glenn on the Jordan Travis developmental trajectory? Was it all talent for Jordan or part of it development?
It was definitely part of it development. I say this so much, and I know it's a broken record and a dead horse, but so much of it too is confidence. I think what sped up Jordan Travis's development was that he went into games and initially made plays. Now, he made plays with his legs, almost all of them. Whether he was scrambling around until he found someone open or just running for first downs and touchdowns, he made plays with his legs. But just making plays, no matter how you do it, builds up your confidence. Okay, I can play here. I can play at this level. I'm a difference maker. I'm a playmaker. And I kind of equate it to a little bit with Jaden Daniels. Jaden Daniels, I wasn't impressed with him at all in 2020. Well, I certainly wasn't impressed with him in the Sun Bowl. And then I wasn't impressed with them all, whatever that was. Was it 3 years later? Oh, geez.
When he played the Sun Bowl.
Yeah, and then 2022 was the opener in the Superdome. And I wasn't impressed with him at all in that game. He still seemed like a guy that didn't trust it, that just used his legs. But as he continued to make plays in that offense for that coach, for that football team, most of them with his legs in the first half of his in 22, he started to get more confident just as a quarterback and a player, and then started making plays with his arms too. I feel like if Brock Glenn starts playing a lot this season, most of his early good plays will almost all involve mobility. Again, he's not busting off 90-yard runs, but just on a 3rd and 7, if you run for an 11-yard first down, just to feel good about yourself. Okay, I'm contributing. I'm here. And then you start in that. I think that's the confidence. Sure, that I think that's what the development. I mean, sure, but I think you can only be developed so much if you don't have any confidence. And what comes first, confidence or experience, or how does that mix work? It's hard to say if he's on the. Jordan Travis was a pretty special athlete that turned into a really, really, really good quarterback. It's way too early to say Brock Glenn has some of that in him, or he has that in him. But, he might. The Lord knows. Nobody, if we were doing these things in 2020? Nobody watching these things in 2020 thought 3 years later Jordan Travis would be the quarterback in an undefeated team and one of the best quarterbacks in the country. Nobody. So, development does happen.
I also think that, he had a champion here in Kenny Dillingham. I think Kenny really believed in him and helped him believe in himself. And I don't know if, do Tony and Mike believe in Brock if they're going to let a quarterback of an 0-2 team go back out there after 67 yards of offense in the first half, but
clearly they don't.
Yeah. But all that say though, that Brock shows up in great spirits every single day and is, he's got a smile on his face and he's whipping the ball around and, like he got really excited. I mean, spoiler alert, that throw to Morlock that we talked about a few minutes ago, that was a touchdown in the end zone today. That was a throw from Brock Glenn. And he ran down there and, dapped up Kyle and, he's feeling it. So maybe that gives you some spark when you're looking at tape.
And when I talk about like playing Cam Davis or playing Deuce Spann, I'm not really even joking about it that much, because the only reason I'm saying Brock Glenn, the only reason he would get snaps, right, Aslan, is because of his mobility.
Oh, yes.
That's the only reason. We've watched enough practice to know he hasn't surpassed DJ in practice, and he is not. There are a couple passes on Wednesday where it's like, what was that, man? What are you looking at? That should have been picked, or that was picked. Where you're like, man, that's not great. That's not good enough. But he gives you that mobility that could maybe be a difference in the running game. That said, if you're only playing a quarterback because he's a good athlete or a better athlete than DJ, well, you've got better athletes than Brock Glenn. If you just want to run the ball with a really good athlete at quarterback, get creative. Because Brock Glenn's a good athlete for a quarterback, but I don't know, man, are there 15, 20 guys faster than him on the team? So let one of them run around for a while. Azarie can make some plays with his legs.
I don't know if this clarifies it or not, but T Giddy's back and says the car that Corey gave Brady was the one he got pulled over with for insurance.
Okay, yeah, so, right. That's why I got pulled over. It did not have insurance. That was the problem, Thomas. That's why I got pulled over, the car I had for Brady. Speaking of Brady, shout out to him, and thank you again, Thomas. He's got his first umpiring job right now as we speak.
What did you guys work out on his strike? What's his strikeout call going to be? Step back, arm up, and then bring him up.
It's T-ball, so I don't know that he had. You probably don't have one of those yet. Okay. If a kid's striking out in T-ball, I don't even know if they'll. I guess you can foul out, but yeah. So no, he doesn't have an out call yet. I did tell him if he gets any gruff from anyone, toss him.
Yeah,
and if a parent gives you grief. Not that they do in T-ball. They wait until they're a little more conscientious. They wait until they're like 7 before they start yelling at the umpires. But if a parent starts yelling at you, kick him out and his kid. just a quick trigger, man. Quick trigger when it comes to ejecting parents. You don't need to hear any of that nonsense.
Well, I mean, the plays at the plate or first base, I wonder if he'll do if he'll just do a very subtle, just fist up, out or like
he got him, like one of those. Yeah, he should. We'll work on that this weekend for sure.
Ric Flair. Woo! Corey, more important issue to ask you. Did the Electro fan work for you?
It worked great. Combined with, we brought 2 to Ireland or Europe, and then combined with the sound machine, it worked perfectly. I got the sound I needed and enough air on my face that I slept like a baby every night in Europe. Not just because of the drugs I was on. Well, for the trip over there, folks. I stopped taking them once we landed, but it was a rough trip.
Corey slept fine, despite the fact that we know deep down inside he was really missing being at the Corner Pocket Bar and Grill.
Amen.
That's located at 2475 Appalachian Parkway in Tallahassee, Florida.
Owned by a former Sigma Nu fraternity member.
Yeah, that's right. Sigma Nu. Let's go, boys.
Sigma old now.
Hey,
Anybody? sorry, Spencer. You're my dog. You know that.
meet and greet 5 p.m. on Friday with Corey Clark and Jeff Cameron. Come on out, everybody. You'll get happy hours going down 4 to 7 weekdays, so that coincides with the 5 to 6 o'clock meet and greet going over at the Corner Pocket Bar and Grill. You can check out all the great menu options as well. The Corey is available, everybody.
Yep.
Make it really meta. Order a Corey, take a photo with Corey at the meet and greet.
Yeah.
Corey.
Perfect.
And then come back, maybe tailgate at Corner Pocket Bar and Grill. Not sure if show up and maybe Southern Cal's playing. Well, no, that game they're playing Michigan, right? That's probably going to be an early game.
There's got to be some late games on somewhere, though. You get back, so you'll probably leave the stadium at 10:30, get to the car. You get to Corner Pocket by 11:30, get you a nightcap, maybe some wings to celebrate the big dub, and then head home. But, yeah, Corner Pocket will be open until 2 a.m. every night.
Let's go! Come on! Z-Chan in the house, the good dentist, everybody. Give it up.
Dang.
Oh, that one's really too low. Z-Chan, the dude, best dentist in Thomasville, Thomas County, I'd say, period.
All of Thomas County.
200 in the jar. What a dude.
Z-Chan, you're the man, buddy. You are the man. You're allowed to come down to Corner Pocket for a meet and greet one of these times.
Z-Chan here to let us know that he's headed to the Legacy Walk for the first time ever this week. Those are fun. It's right by the fountain at Gate A, next to Hauser. I think these boys need to know we still have their backs no matter what. Let's get it.
Z-Chan, you are the man. It's a great sentiment. I hope more people, maybe people watching this will be inspired, not to give money, although by all means, folks, but more importantly, go show the players that you still support them. Go show the coaching staff you still support them. And I meant to mention this sometime earlier in the week. Like, I know it wasn't great 10 minutes before kickoff, but that was a pretty dang good crowd.
Yeah.
For an 0-2 football team playing Memphis on a hot noon on Saturday, and I feel like it's still sold out this week. I think it'll be a good crowd. The fans have still shown up. The students, I know they'll probably leave at halftime because it's Saturday night. It'll be 9:00. They want to go start doing some stuff, but still, man, the students are showing up. The fans are showing up. The Champions Club is what it is. But man, I shouldn't say impressed. I'm always impressed. With this Florida State fan base.
Yeah, listen, watching the game from home on the TV, they're down 20-3, and when they make a first down, that crowd like explodes. When Malik Benson caught that touchdown, they went berserk. It's just like they just clinch a spot to Charlotte for the ACC championship game. So, man, they're thirsty. The ones that are staying out there, man, they're hungry for a dub, and they're supporting the team. And I'm trying to think, I don't want to talk about it, but like when they announce DJ as a starting quarterback, if they do on Saturday, you don't have to cheer, but like booing is an actual, like that's, you're making a choice at that point. You can just be like, you can roll your eyes, you can cross your arms, you can shake your head. Don't boo the guy.
Are you booing the guy or are you booing the decision?
Well, it's a little bit of both.
I know DJ probably doesn't look at it semantically like that. He's probably feels like he's being booed. Although they're in the locker room when they're announcing, so he won't hear it. It's going to be worse when he runs if and when he runs out for the first series. That's when he's going to be booed, and he knows it's for him. But also,
well, he is DJU, so maybe we can trick him into thinking they're going
Uncle. Yeah, that's what Ira was saying. They're not booing, they're saying ooh, Uncle. Yeah. No, I think he's a pretty smart kid. He knows that he's probably being booed. I hope he understands. I don't think everybody blames him. I hope they don't. I hope they understand when the running game is just beyond pathetic, and so DJ has no chance in this current offense. But yeah, it's also, man, when they start getting paid, it's kind of the price of doing business, man. You get paid, and people know you've been paid. This isn't 1979. It's you're not just getting paid in a scholarship or books. Like you're making six figures. That's part of the deal. And it's not like he built up a lot of goodwill. The only time any of these fans have ever seen him play well at all in their lives is at that stadium 2 years ago when they beat their team. When he beat their team, so they're not not a lot of built up goodwill and love for DJ right now. But he can change it. Just go 20 for 24, 296, 4 touchdowns on Saturday. That's all we need.
I mean, we could still win the ACC if that happens. Just saying.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
Hank Lyles here, everybody. He's not totally to blame, but it feels like DJ just holds the ball way too long and won't just let it rip. Is he not seeing it well or scared to even give guys a chance at plays if they're not wide open?
Yeah, Henry, that's what I was just saying. Good question, fair question. Yes, that's probably, it's not even the sacks. It's not even that he can't move. It's not getting rid of the ball quickly because it's not the Cowboys blocking for you, man. It's not the Saints offensive line blocking for you. See it and let it rip. And if your primary guy isn't wide open, if he's still kind of covered, give him a chance sometimes. It's better than a sack. If don't throw into double coverage, don't throw an easy interception. But man, his two interceptions this year, Aslan, right? What was the common theme to both of them?
Getting hit?
Yeah, maybe holding the ball too long, not trusting a guy downfield to make a play. There's not going to be guys running free like Malik Benson on that one deep route. Like, give them a chance sometimes. Let it rip and see what happens. Play like you got nothing to lose, because in reality, you don't have anything to lose. The season's not going anywhere. Nobody thinks you're any good right now, man. So go prove them wrong and let it rip, but might be too far gone at this point.
He's not gone. He's still here with us. It's Ray Pereira, everybody. Look at Ray dropping a hundo. Come on, Ray. What's going on, man? What? Which, by the way, real quick, R.I.P. Woj. Can't believe it. Unbelievable. Shout out to him, man.
Explain to people what you're talking about, weirdo.
So Adrian Wojnarowski
–
is the leading voice in breaking news when it comes to the NBA. I don't even know if he precedes Adam Schefter in terms of that space of making an entire career out of breaking huge news.
Yeah, he's got his whole they're Woj bombs. He has a whole thing named after him, like a whole they're Twitter memes.
Yeah. So he shockingly announced his retirement from the breaking news game, and now he's going to be the GM of his beloved alma mater, St. Bonaventure. He's going to be the GM helping them, piece together a basketball roster for their men's basketball team. I just thought it was so cool, man, that he said, like, he admitted, he's like, the amount of energy it takes to do that job. And I was telling Matt about it at practice. Like, I'm not really dialed into the NFL all that much anymore, but I did watch like NFL Countdown on Sunday morning for week 1, just to see what it looked like with, Mike Greenberg doing it. And dude, Adam Schefter looked like he wanted to like snap and be like, get out of my, like, he's on the phone. They want him to do a hit for the show. He's getting news. He's trying to tweet it. And man, like he's doing that every Sunday, and he's doing it pretty much every single day of the year. Like there's no time off from that job. Right. And I just thought it was really cool that Adrian Wojnarowski is just like, yeah, man, like I ain't got it in me, and I'm not sad about it. There's a lot. Time isn't like an infinite sort of a commodity, and I want to use it for things that make me more happy or something along the lines. I hate to butcher it like that. I just thought it was a really like graceful exit, and hey man, on the heels of Amazon wanting everybody to come back to work for 5 days a week. I thought we were going to give people the option to do hybrid work, but I don't want to get down that road. So.
How did Ray Pereira remind you of Woj?
He's back. I don't know. It looks like I did the bang. Mike Breen,
okay, Mike gotcha. Breen, okay, now I'm seeing it. Now it's coming together. Gotcha.
Yeah, we'll do it one more time. Yeah, basketball, NBA. Ray says I agree with Corey. All right, moving on. Thank you. Just
Ray, you're the man, not just because of the $100, but because of I need all the backup I can get these days, buddy. So I do appreciate it.
Ray agrees that let's get a mobile Brock Glenn and let's speed up the tempo. I'm driving to Tallahassee to see the Cal game with Eric Angel. Let's break the hex, go Noles. He then asked if I'll be at the meet and greet. Wasn't planning on it, but Ray Pereira, if you're going to be there Friday, corner pocket, 5 or 6 o'clock, then I've got no choice. I too will be there.
Yeah, man, absolutely. It's a pillar.
I lost the comment. It was earlier in the show, and I don't want to get down. Let's manage our emotions properly. But just somebody was saying, like, what happens if Brock comes in the game and actually does really well? Like, will that make you upset? And I'm like, no, not at all, man. Like, I never thought they were going to win a national title. So it's not as though you just lost out on, listen, man, the playoff is pretty much far gone too, I guess. But if they beat Cal, that's an ACC win, and who knows? I'll joke about it probably at some point on a podcast, Corey. But like, yeah, if Brock Glenn comes in the game at some point or starts and plays well and they win, large part because of the way he played. I don't know how mad I'll be at Mike Norvell. I'll be a little miffed, but I'm not gonna be like, I can't believe it. We got to make up our minds. We want him to change course, and if he changes course and it works out, I'm not going to hold it against him.
Also, that would be a surprise if it looks great with Brock Glenn. Again, I think it's going to be a different version of the kind of the same thing. Hopefully not. I mean, don't just make a change to not produce with the other guy. But I think they'll be able to run the ball more. But who knows, man? They might. The one thing DJ has done okay with so far is turnovers. And Brock Glenn, we cannot say that about. And he could have some disastrous game-changing turnovers, but, he could also maybe make some plays with his feet. I'll tell you this real quick, Aslan. And I asked Norvell about it, sort of in a roundabout way, but I'm serious about this now. Like, the most impressive quarterback to me on Wednesday was not your starter. It was not your redshirt freshman or your 5-star scholarship freshman. It was the kid running the scout team, Trevor Jackson, right? Is that his name?
Right. It is Trevor with an E.
Yeah, Trevor Jackson. He threw, which is bad news because your starting defense gave up some yardage and some points. But holy moly, man, that kid made some throws, and he's got. Maybe it's because he's the scout team quarterback and he's having fun with it, which is good to see. There's a lot more pressure when you're taking snaps for your team in a real game. But he's kind of like, he's smiling and laughing when he throws touchdowns. He's screaming in delight. He's going and jumping on his teammates when they make plays. And he did it today. They weren't like 50-yard runs, which is probably right now his greatest strength is his mobility. He did it with his right arm. And that, again, as Norvell said afterwards, and I would encourage everyone to go watch his press conference from today, because I did ask him about, like, how do you determine when you're watching a scout team offense if a guy can play? He's like, well, you have to understand he's getting told what to put. They're holding numbers up on a sign for exactly what he's supposed to do. And that doesn't happen in a real game. And I wanted to be like, well, it kind of does. But I understand the point. Like, there's no checks at the line. There's no protections that he's having to change. There's no plays he's having to change. It's just basically run this play, throw it to these people, do it as well as you can. But he did say, like, you do get to see playmaking ability. And I have not given up on this kid to maybe be somebody that ends up playing at Florida State. He's been impressive more than once playing for the scout team.
The wellspring of optimism, Mike Myrick in the chat. Shout out to Mike. He's always in the comment section, but not often on the live shows. So we appreciate him being here. Good question from Startup Talk. Which position groups outside of quarterback from the teams we've played would you actually trade with? Are we sure FSU's roster is really the problem?
I would trade
Georgia Tech's offensive line. I would probably take Boston College's offensive line. I'd probably would take Memphis's linebackers. I don't know about any receivers though. But yeah, I mean, I liked our offensive line. So like, I feel bad saying this. I don't know if it's being hypocritical, Corey, but like, I really liked Florida State's offensive line in the preseason. I made a point of it to peel away and not watch 7-on-7 and 1-on-1s the whole time and go watch the way the lines were working against one another. And I'm like, man, they're really good. Like, they're really big and strong and they're agile. They're moving off the ball and they're knocking guys back. They're striking their blocks. And I'm just shocked at how poorly they've performed in these games. And if you got what Georgia Tech's been doing through 3 games and what Boston College has done through 3 games, I think it's an upgrade. So yes, I would take that.
Yeah, it's like it's kind of like the conversation about receivers. Are these receivers game breakers or if they're any good? It's like, well, it's hard to know because of the quarterback situation and whether he's throwing it on time or giving them a chance or making horrible throws when they do get open, or sometimes they can't get open. So it's hard to know, but it's like with this too, it's like, okay, if Georgia Tech's offensive line, if you traded player for player, those 5 guys were in Tallahassee running this scheme with this quarterback and this offensive line coach, how much different would it be? Like I'm not convinced that these guys just suck. I'm not convinced of it. I'm not convinced that these 320-pound dudes that have played more football than any of us have ever watched just all of a sudden can't play. Something is getting lost in translation, and they do seem too confused, especially guys that have been playing here for so long. They just seem too confused. They don't block it up well. And also, if a team's going to bring 6 or 7 guys on a running play, good luck. You got 5 to block. Good luck. And they know they don't have to stay on this side. They don't have to stay on the edge because the quarterback's a threat. So they are crashing down the line at your running backs. And it doesn't matter what your guard does because the linebacker coming off the edge is unblocked because you only have 11 people on the field and your quarterback's not going to keep it. So, yes, I would say the Georgia Tech offensive line for sure. But I don't know how much better the running game would be. I'm down on the whole attack right now. I got to see something on Saturday, man. Please show me something, Aslan. Let them show me something.
It was good to see Ed Lemick showing out last weekend.
Absolutely, Ed and Courtney. That was awesome.
Thank you, Ed. Ed throws 50 in the jar. It was great seeing us guys at CP this last weekend. Courtney, his lovely wife. I wanted to say bride, and then it said wife, and it was like
it was wife. Yeah.
Had a great time and loved talking with you guys. Yeah, it was great, man. Met everybody, man. We've I'll make it back out there since our guy Ray Prayer is going to be out there. Thanks to Ed as always. Don't forget DeLuna coffee, everybody. So good once it hits your lips.
And tell Courtney we're still thinking of her. It was awesome to see her.
Yeah.
Looked great. I know she's still going through some stuff, but hopefully she's turned the corner and everything's going great.
Absolutely. Well said, Corey. Mike Machado. This is interesting. I think Mike Machado's talked a good amount of crap about me on our channel, which is fine because he just gave us a bunch of money. $20 in the jar from Mike Machado, everybody. Nothing is more dangerous, Mike says, than a man with a clear vision, passionate message, and the ability and financing to move everyone in the wrong direction. I thought that was going to be uplifting. Does Mike Norvell see we're moving in the wrong direction?
Mike, thank you very much for the question. How could he not? He's going to say things, and he's going to talk about how confident he is that he can turn it around. And I don't think that's bluster. I think that's the truth. But yes, there's not going to be drastic changes to his approach, or to his offense, or to his personnel, and to his coaching staff in September. But there's also if this is the same staff with much of the same personnel next spring, then yes, it's right to wonder what in the world is he doing. But right now, he has clearly been blindsided by this start, like we all have, but him more than anyone, because he was really confident in what this team was going to be. That he is, I can't fathom that he gets to the place he got in life and accomplish the things he got without being able to take real hard looks and realize real hard truths about himself and adjust. He's done it since he got here. So hopefully, I do think he knows they're moving in the wrong direction. But I think he also has a lot of confidence that he can right it. But the question is, does he think he can right it by just running it back next year with everybody doing the same thing and just hoping you get better quarterback play and that's the difference? Or is he going to make some real changes? That's when we'll know. That's when we'll know the real answer to this question. But I do think he has to know.
Yeah. Nick Weber.
I'd say Weber. Yeah, it's Weber.
What's the expectation for fans? 6-6. Do we not care and throw in a quarterback to get reps? I think that's where it starts coming in, Corey. When we talk about the direction.
6-6. Come on now.
Yeah. When we talk about direction of the program, no matter what happens, listen, they're 0-3 right now. Let's say they finish 4-8. That's
500 the rest of the year, gang.
But
yeah,
it's going to be miserable. I think like each loss gets compounded. I don't think, other than beating Clemson or Miami, I don't think any win makes you feel any much better about how things move forward. So I am curious to see. And the more I've thought about it, I feel like it'd be crazy to get rid of Alex Atkins after he helped you, run for 200 yards a game in 6 straight games or whatever it was in 2022.
Yeah.
Part of a 2023 team that, goes 13-1, which, by the way, sorry, but I'm going to stop saying 13-0. They did technically go 13-0 for a while, but then they played another game, they lost it.
And guys, I just want you to know I'm never going to say 13-1. So we're going to compete.
Yeah.
Competing thoughts, philosophies.
But seeing the way they look, and if some of these young guys, and listen, Bryson Estes isn't a young guy. He's not a young guy. If he's not ready to step in there and be better than what has been out there the last few weeks, then where's the development? So you're not evaluating guys out of the portal all that great. Listen, Jeremiah Byers was like the number 2 tackle, I think, coming out of the portal last year. And I don't think he's been one of the 50 best tackles in FBS football, to put it mildly, I guess. So you're not evaluating guys that have a lot of tape out there. You're not really developing guys that you went and handpicked out of high school all that well. And I know you had 2 great seasons, but man, like if you continue to not block anything consistently well, I think even like Alex's job is on the line. So I think if things stack up to where 6-6, maybe that gives you some sort of respite, but I think like a 4-8, everything is on the table other than Mike Norvell's job, obviously. But
I think once they get to 6 and 7 losses, everything's on the table, no matter how it looks at the end, no matter whether they can beat Florida or not. It might seem harsh. This is the reality of this job. But also, who's the most famous assistant coach in Florida State history, Aslan? Who's the best they've ever had besides Jeff Bowden?
Mickey Andrews.
All right, so Mickey Andrews takes over in 1985. Florida State had always had a good offense, but they kept losing games, 42-41. So Mickey Andrews comes in, and within 3 years, the dynasty starts. They starts in 87, and they end up having one of the great defenses in the country for years, for a decade and a half. So let's say in 1998, they lost it to Tennessee, but they had, I think that was probably their best defense of all time. But in 1998, they have that great year. They lose to Tennessee because Chris Winkie can't play. And then 1999 comes around, and I know this is a hypothetical, so bear with me. They give up 47 points a game. I think legitimately, if they give up 47 points a game in 1999, if they're the worst defense in the country, that next year, Bobby Bowden would have been well within his rights, even after just a 1-year blip, to fire him. Like 47 points a game is fireable. When your offensive line when your rushing attack is averaging 52 yards per game, and the only other team out there worse than that is Miami of Ohio, when you're 112 yards away from being average per game, that's fireable, right? The goodwill has been built up. That's fine. But when you have this bad a season, combined last year with the season it wasn't like you were dominant at that position. And when you didn't have Johnny and you didn't have Keon, all of a sudden you're barely eking out 24 points against Pitt. And then you can't run it all against Louisville when you need to run the ball because you've got a third-string quarterback. You can't do it all. Yeah, man, this is the reality of the sport. It's a what have you done for me lately, but also you start questioning, why would we think it's going to be better next year? So that's the reality. Again, we were all singing Alex Atkinson's praises with good reason. He did an unbelievable job turning that position group around. We don't know how much Jordan Travis's legs had to do with it, but overall, the offensive line did perform much better starting in 2020, really, but in 21, 22, portions of 23, that was a good group. And then, I don't know, the last year and a half, and certainly these 3 games, it's been the worst group in the country. And that's how coaches get fired. So, but it's only been 3 games, and he hasn't even been here to coach them. So, yeah, let's hope that it turns around. But if they finish 130th in the country in rushing offense, and they finish 128th in scoring offense, you going to stand pat?
I don't. Yeah, no coach keeps a coordinator,
right?
And
that was my point, bringing up Mickey Andrews. Even with 10 years of goodwill, if all of a sudden he has a year where he gives up 48 points a game, and they have the worst defense in the country, well, then Bobby Bowden, as much as he loves Mickey Andrews, probably thinking about making a change. He could have had one of his sons coach defense. Sorry, Bobby. Sorry, Bowden family. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for you, and that's not a joke.
Yeah, so Brian said that I was went in a circle around there. I just thought, like, after 1 game, 2 games, it felt overreactionary.
Yeah, you were saying how your mind has changed over the course of these 3 games.
And projecting out to where, like,
Yeah.
I mean, if you end up the season 4-8, and to like Corey's point, if you're in the hundreds and running the ball, and if you're in the hundreds and scoring offense, I mean, the only thing that makes it awkward is the whole show cause, because he more or less kind of fell on the sword for everybody. So maybe you feel like some kind of responsibility to keep him around, but
that's what the money is for.
Yeah, man,
he gets paid. And they would pay a buyout. But again, we're not advocating for that. Through 3 games, his group in that offense has been abysmal. Mike Norvell is not going to fire himself. Hopefully, it gets much better, and this isn't even a conversation. But I don't think the record has as much to do with it, Aslan, is just the offensive production.
Yeah, and the development there just hasn't been. Right. Darius developed. I mean, Darius was first team All ACC, but now he's backslid. It's bizarre. And Maurice is seemingly just kind of, moderated his, his play or whatever. I mean, he's been kind of getting beat up here the last few games, at least by people on the boards and things like that. But, again, like a guy like Estes, like Jalen Early, was put in a tough spot, but man, like
Armella came in here with a lot. Armella came in with a lot of hype. Lucas Simmons came in with a lot of hype, and there are redshirt freshmen that are playing all over this country, and it's not happening here. And there will be some, if it continues to look this bad on offense, and I mean bad, like historically bad, then there's gonna be some. I believe there will be some changes.
Let's see what we got here. People also obviously throwing Randy Shannon's name out there. And I think I do wonder, so much of the offense is Mike, but obviously your offensive line needs to be able to block some things up. The defense felt like they made a little bit of a step, but I am kind of curious to see, although I don't know how much like Adam Fuller would give things. Not that I'm saying Adam Fuller needs to give things up, but some teams can add a position coach on a side of the ball that their head coach is not responsible on it and get some really good gains and returns out of it. You feel like if they got some sort of younger guy, I mean, I'm not saying maybe Ernie's that guy, but like if they got a guy that at least can maybe have some really good inroads in recruiting high school players, that's an upshot. But I mean, I think on the defense, that's probably the first thing that comes to mind. I cannot get behind Odell being on a chopping board. Sorry, everybody. It's going to take, I don't know, them giving up like 400 rushing yards in a game 8 times for me to even consider it. That's where I'm at with that.
When it comes to Shannon, look, of course they're all on the line, but the linebacker play this year has not been what we would deem good. I do think that Cryer and Nicholson have a pulse. They have a chance to be something. But yeah, it all falls back to someone. If teams keep running, wheel routes and flare passes to the running backs and nobody's in the picture. And that's a running back's responsibility. You bring in better players, that would help. But also, even if you don't have great players, if you have 3 stars that know where they're supposed to be and play hard, well, that can mask a lot of deficiencies talent-wise. But that hasn't necessarily been always the case with these linebackers.
Let me see this guy's at Tub Butter.
Nice.
Tub Butter. Let's say DJ starts.
Yep.
What would have to happen for him to be benched? And do you see Mike pulling the trigger if necessary this weekend? Well, I said if he plays anywhere like he did the first half against Boston College against Memphis, in the first half, you're pulling him. And he's like, hey, I got something in store for you. Joke's on you, idiot. And he played even worse and didn't get replaced. So I consecutive turnovers, just bad, misread.
He's not going to do that though, right? Like it's not, if he turns it over, like he doesn't make bad reads. He makes no reads at all. Sometimes he just doesn't see it quick enough. And that would be my issue, is that you can't take sacks, man. Like I know he's only taken 8 only. So he's averaging getting sacked like 3 a game, but so many times. So I think they've been tackled behind the line of scrimmage this year, Aslan, 20 times in 3 games, maybe more than that. There might have been a couple QB sneaks he got tackled for a loss, but it's been abysmal there. But like in not every sack is on the offensive line. Some are, but not every sack is on the offensive line. Dan Marino didn't have a bunch of all Hall of Famers blocking for him. And I know I'm going to go ahead and say this: DJ is not Dan Marino, but when you have that sixth sense as a quarterback, you can get the ball out quickly. You can move in the pocket a little bit. You can avoid the pressure or just get the ball out quick. Because Marino was slower than DJ, much, much slower than DJ, but he rarely got sacked. DJ just it's not that he makes horrible decisions all the time. It's like he won't make a decision. And I wouldn't mind him like once a half just letting one rip, and he doesn't. Okay. I mean, Jameis got intercepted. All the great quarterbacks get intercepted. He's like he plays too close to the vest. But this offense you can't do that in this offense. You've got to let it rip sometimes and take some chances. And he has not, and it has been pretty ugly to watch. But so to answer your question, I would say 2 drives with 0 points. Cut it. It's done. It's done. We're done with this.
We're done with the show. It's been an hour.
We are.
Everybody.
Okay, nice. I didn't mean it like that. Like, I love you guys. I'd hang out with you forever. But Aslan has so you have a girlfriend now? Did you say, is that for real?
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, that's what we're calling it. Whatever.
We're calling it. So that's a conversation then?
No, it said it happened. So the funny thing is I was in Jacksonville to cover the practice.
Yeah.
And I met her on an app when I was out there, but we never even actually saw each other.
CarMax? Was it CarMax?
Yeah.
Sorry. Go ahead. Sorry.
CarMax. I actually didn't end up meeting her in person until I got back from Dublin, which is why when your wife was like pushing me to go like meet a girl off Tinder when I was in Dublin, I'm like, hey, cooking on something. But anyways.
Yeah, something's percolating.
I went out to dinner with my buddy, Mercedes Mike, who's now Bentley Mike. And he was just like, so dude, like, are you ever going to try to date somebody? I'm like, yeah, man, it's kind of tough out there. He's like, would you ever think about dating somebody who like lived outside Tallahassee? I'm like, yeah, I don't know, man. I just don't know if I'd ever want to do long distance. But then in so many times in my life, when I hit pivotal, crucial moments, I'm like, what would Corey Clark do?
That's how most people should think, probably. Yeah.
I'm like, Corey Clark dated a girl when he lived 5 hours away.
Yeah, that's right.
What's 2 hours in Jacksonville away? So I'm like, all right, we'll see how this goes. Yeah, she's awesome. And she's really attractive. And she's
that's good. Attractive personality, you mean?
Yes.
Okay, good.
So yeah, and then she doesn't live in town, so she's not in my hair all the time, which is good because I'm weird and I need my own space.
I thought this was going to be like romantic. Let's cheer for Aslan, and then did she watching this? Is there any chance she knows about this? Would she? She does.
She actually told me she listens to podcasts every morning when she gets ready. She's like, can I admit that sometimes, like if I'm not feeling music or like a true crime pod, she's like, I'll put on your podcast. And I'm like, oh no. She's like, tell me it's weird. It's fine. I'm like, no, it's fine. It's fine. It's cool. I'm like, but you realize I don't talk on the podcast. Is the other guy who does all the talking.
Yep. She won't need to meet me. She's heard me talk way too much. Well, that's exciting. I think everybody in the Warchant community is happy for you, Aslan.
Yeah.
Will she ever come over here and visit? Is she going to go to a game or anything like that?
Well, she's actually coming over this weekend, coming by this weekend. So
double
not
date
for a game. She's coming on after the game's over. So yeah.
Oh, okay. So double date on Sunday. Where do you want to go?
Hey,
CP?
I was gonna say we need to do the show a little bit earlier than usual if possible. She'll be here like in the late afternoon, early evening or something. But yeah.
Well, Stephanie will be very excited to hear all this. So
okay.
That's wonderful. Congratulations, Aslan, and congratulations to the unnamed woman. You got yourself a good one.
Well, her name's Abby, but that's like Matt's got an Abby, so Aslan's got an Abby. It's gonna be really confusing now at Warchant functions, things like that.
Right.
But shout out to everybody for hitting the thumbs up. Do so on the way out. Special thanks to Aaron, Spencer, Corey Bates, our guy Mace, Thomas Giddings, Z-Chan, Ray Pereira, Ed Lemmix, even Mike Machado. Hey, Eric Gravitt. Just this $20 to me. Congrats. Thanks, man. Oh, we'll see on Brandon hit the air horn. All right. A Warchant report will be dropping probably tomorrow. Corey's going to make his pick on that show.
Right now. I got to do that now.
We'll do a mailbag and we'll also sprinkle in some over-unders. Is Brock Glenn 1/2 over-under? Is that going to be an over-under, Corey? On the
half a snap, you mean?
Yeah, half snap. Yeah.
No, I'm going to put it. I think we should still do Brock Glenn snaps, but I'm going to make the number a little higher than that.
Okay. All right, cool. Check it out for that. Even if you're not a member of warchant.com, you can still enter the over-under contest and win $10 to Garnet and Gold. So do it, everybody. Jeff Cameron Show, 1 to 4 o'clock now. That'll be on Thursday. Plenty of content. Coach Speak, is it you guys drop that?
Yeah, Coach Speak's coming. Yeah, we're recording it tomorrow. I assume it'll drop tomorrow afternoon, like 4 or 5 o'clock.
Okay.
Norvell's going to make his debut, I think. Yeah. Yep.
Oh,
the fire alarm got him on the show.
There we go. All right. Thanks so much, everybody, for watching. Again, if you get the thumbs up on the way out, we would appreciate it. He's Corey Maslin. Thanks for watching Wake Up Warchant Live, presented by Vitamin Energy.